free to say hi to everybody in Facebook land.
Hi there. Thanks for joining us this morning. This is part 3 of our superhuman immune system. So we have not seen part 1 and 2. They are on my Facebook page under Bill McKenna author. They're recorded. However, we are doing live part 1 at 5 o'clock PST today, and then we'll follow up in the subsequent days with part 2 and part 3 again. As you might expect, there'll be little bits and pieces of information if you rewatch that you'll get out of rewatching, plus potentially some new things that we'll present as we kind of refine the presentation. So today is primarily around nutrition. Part 3 is around nutrition, and the part so the last part that I did not get to in part 2, but I'll cover right now, is what to avoid. So this has been primarily what to do that you've all seen already. The physical exercises, emotional exercises that really work and why they work are covered in part 1 and 2. What to avoid here. Psychoactive drugs. So if you take CBD, it does not affect your energy system, meaning if you have THC, it will impact your energetic system. It tears it down. CBD does not. How do we know this? Is because we've actually tested that with the BioWell system. Alcohol. I'm going to show what drinking will do to your entire system. I have some slides right here on that, and I don't mean you're hanging out at the local bar and really tearing it up. I mean normal social drinking where you can feel it, but you're not really schlubber faced. I'll show you what that does to your system. Smoking and vaping, staying up at odd hours, meaning there is a rhythm. It's called the circadian rhythm, and that's the rhythm of when the sun rises and the sun sets. It is the normal rhythm of life and nature on Earth as we know it. Certainly there's animals and stuff that stay up at night and hunt and that sort of thing, but humans, we operate best following the natural rhythm of the earth and sun and moon and that sort of thing. So get yourself into the habit of simply watching the sunrise. If you watch the sunrise, what happens is it sets off the circadian rhythm. You'll find that you're not going to have the late nights, and you're also going to sleep better. There's basically systems within you that are automatically activated by that. It's amazing how we were designed, and we're just discovering this. Actually, we've known about it for a while, but watching the sunrise will do it for you. There is also something which I call it's actually there. We have mirror neurons in our brain, and with these mirror neurons, we actually get affected by watching other people's dramas. So right now there's a huge amount of drama on TV. So when you watch it, there's a mirror neuron in your brain, right? If you watch somebody get hurt, you watch somebody's drama, you have this mirroring effect that tears down you, even just observing it. So stay away from all the all of those reality TV shows, the news, things like that. Notice how you feel after you watch the news. And you're watching all these things on the virus, and notice how your body feels. It feels anxious. And there's a bunch of reasons for this, but net of it, all you got to know is stay away from the drama. We tend to attract whatever we are getting our jollies out of, right? So uh, it's best for us to stay away from it. Getting out of fear. Now, getting out of fear, we covered that in part 2, and we covered that with cogno movement. You can easily get out of fear. You can process it out of your system. It's a simple physical exercise that you focus on the fear, and then, with this, uh, it forces it in to be processed. Very simple exercise. It's bilateral. It activates left, right parts of your brain, and you no longer feel it. It's not like you're trying to be strong, or I don't, I'm just smarter and I'm just more intelligent, or I don't feel that. No, you actually don't feel it. So that's cogno movement. Negative people and situations, also avoid them. And I'm going to show you right now some tests that were done. This is me before drinking 1.5 Cadillac margaritas. So this is here, every single organ in my body. This is the eyes, ears, nose, throat, trachea, you name it, cardiovascular system. And it shows basically the amount of energy. This is the amount of energy over here in joules over to the side. And then down here is all the organs. So there's all these organs, over 30 systems. Anything that's lit up is what is not in balance, right? So if it's lit up, it's not in balance. And left, right, depending upon east or west, sympathetic, parasympathetic. So you could look at it that way, or you could look at it in the east. They call it Ida and Pingala, or those sorts of things. But here's me at 12 o'clock on Saturday. I was coming home from this event, and I decided to stop and have Mexican food. And what goes better with Mexican food than a margarita? And so I had a margarita, a Cadillac margarita. I was like, oh, that was so good. I drank another half of one. Right? It's not a lot. I mean, I could feel it, but it wasn't like but here's the next morning. Notice how many, all of these organs are out of balance, right? And not only the out of balance, but look at the amount of energy is all down here. And look at, here's where I was. This is before, next morning, after. I had that kind of a little bit sluggish feeling next morning, but it wasn't like I was like, oh, on the couch, terrible. My point is that you really disturb your immune system because it's affecting you across all systems. So it's something to avoid: psychoactives, alcohol, those sorts of things. Here's an example of it. Here is me over on the left side. That morning is about 11:30 or so, no, 12 o'clock or so. And here's me, and here's representation of the next morning. Look at how the size of these are represented to how much energy you have, right? So the size decreased, and also the balance had gone off. So that is that aspect of kind of a couple of things, the what not to do on this. Now, Liz, I am officially going to hand over this to you. We're here on your document. Can you control the forward and back, or do you need to share this on your own? Liz Larson. Okay, while I'm waiting for her to unmute herself, I'll take any questions now. This is a great time to just let you ask any questions you like. You can unmute yourself if you want. You can ask any questions.
So I'm here, Bill, whenever you're ready. Go ahead and ask your questions. I'm just
Okay.
going to set myself up here, but I do need you to move the chart for me if you can. It's on your computer.
Okay, so you just say next slide to me and I'll move it.
Okay.
You got it. Okay.
I need to try to pin myself too, so.
Okay, fantastic. Any questions from anybody on that first part? You can unmute yourself if you like. Okay. All righty. So Liz, go ahead and take over.
Okay, I'm gonna start talking here and see if I can pin myself as the main video. Right at this second, I don't seem to be able to do that. Hold on just a moment.
As Liz is doing that, Liz is really an expert in nutrition and so many things that are not known to the average person about immunity from a nutritional perspective. She's really mastered that and accumulated. I really want her to write a book because they're practical things of things you either have around the house or methods that you could utilize to really make yourself feel a lot better and boost your immunity at the same time.
So I'm not sure what's going on here, Bill. I can't seem to get my own video up, but that's okay. I'm not going to hold everybody up for that. And I may ask you to unshare for a moment so I can share a screen. There's a part here that isn't showing. We're not seeing, no, go ahead and show the screen right now, Bill. I'll tell you when to change it. Go ahead and share your screen again.
That may be the point in time when you can allow yourself to pin yourself or something. Can you try it now?
It looks like on Facebook, everybody can see me. So go ahead and just share the screen again, if you will. There we go. Okay. I just want to reiterate something, and we've talked about it in the last two segments. But one of the biggest reasons that we wanted to share this part of it, we know that the people that we work with are such high level, well-informed, brilliant people that there's a lot of this that you are already going to know. And so this is mostly a reminder, even though Bill said I have a wealth of knowledge, really, I was raised this way. It's part of my DNA. It's what I use personally for myself and my family. So I feel really comfortable sharing it with you. It's a reminder for those of you who know this already, but when we're in this kind of fear, our frontal lobes kind of shut down. We don't do a lot of thinking. And just a reminder that fear brings fight or flight. It gets our adrenals activated and our bodies are trying to run from the tiger that's chasing us. When that happens, there just isn't energy in the body for the frontal lobe to be thinking about other things. There's not energy in the body for the body to heal. So when we're in fear, our healing mode in our body's ability to heal is literally shut down, because what it wants to do is send the adrenaline to our legs to get the heck out of the way of the tiger that's on our butt. So everything that Bill's talking about bringing down the fear is not only important, but vital to your health during this time and your family's health. So why did we want to share nutrition and health, even though that is really, we teach cognitive movement and other ways to change your brain and your body. Why do we want to bring nutrition? Because nutrition and knowing what you can do, knowing what's available in your cupboards and in your refrigerator that you can use every day to help your family helps you feel confident. It helps to bring down the fear. It helps you know that whatever comes your way, you have tools available to you to change that situation or to make it better or even to help prevent. So that is really it. It goes along perfectly with what we're saying. We really want to help you bring down the fear. So the first thing that came to mind when we were talking about this is gut health. And Bill, if you watched yesterday or the first or second one, Bill showed a gut health supplement that is great. And we've all been talking about probiotics and health. There is a huge one that many people don't know about, and I want to share it with you, and that's live kefir grains. So you may have seen kefir in the grocery store. It's not the same as live kefir grains. Kefir in the grocery store has about 12 strains of bacteria. The same with your yogurts, about 12 strains of bacteria. And they're also a lot of them very full of sugar, which we know damages our immune system and brings it down. So live kefir grains, and I'm going to try to share my screen. Let's see if this works, Bill. I want to show you if I can here. Let's see. I want to show you what kefir grains look like. Can everybody see that? Kefir grains look like a little cottage cheese, but they're actually a live bacteria. So this is just a search that I did. You can see it here. Many images of kefir grains. Kefir grains are one of the most ancient things on the planet. In fact, the argument about where they came from is highly argued. People don't really know where they came from. However, there have been wars fought over these. At one point, Turkey and Russia had a war. One of them stole the other's princess because the other country was withholding their kefir grains and the other country needed it. In Russia and a lot of the Eastern countries, this is a staple. This is what they use to keep themselves healthy. It also keeps the milk that they have that they can't necessarily store if they don't have refrigeration, like the Bedouins and all that. It ferments it and it keeps it in a kind of a yogurt state. But why this as opposed to yogurt? The reason is, let me see if I can end my share here. That I'll share, here we go. The reason is that it has 42 to 72 strains of bacteria. So let's see, where are we, Bill? I don't know if you can see me or not, but and that is a massive amount more. And it will eat things like toxins. It'll eat things. So one of the questions that people have, and they ask authors like Donna Gates, is a really big proponent of kefir and shows how to use it for a million different things. She says that, it doesn't matter if you put it in organic milk or not, that it actually eats the toxins and everything out. It'll do the same thing in our body. So, and it makes us strong. It just makes people strong in it. And it overtakes the bad bacteria in the body. So overall, it makes the body very strong. So that is kefir grains. Let's see, Bill, how do I get this off the screen? Can you share the, share yours again, please. Yeah. Yep. Sorry, guys, not so technologically advanced. Okay. So that's my promotion of kefir. And that's one of those things, you can buy it online. It's very inexpensive. You get a small amount and you start to make your own kefir with your own milk, and you can do it vegetarian or vegan as well. So the other thing you could do, what's lovely about kefir is it's a shared thing. They grow. It's a live bacteria. Eventually it's so much that you don't need it that much and you share it with someone else. So you can go on boards on your local things for sale or things people need and ask, does anybody have kefir grains? People are very willing to share. Talk to your local health food stores, and you can also buy it online. So the next thing is kombucha. Everybody knows about kombucha, but it's also another one of these bacterias that people can use. Very different than kefir, but it's helpful for a lot of people. Yogurt's effective as well. Here's one that you have in your cupboard. Everybody has this, apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar also, if it's raw, has the mother. So it has some of these same properties to help heal the gut and help populate the body with this good bacteria. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but There's people that say we're 95, 96% bacteria ourselves, and some of that gets corrupted. So we want to do what we can to make that a positive um, bacteria situation. And apple cider vinegar helps with that. It also helps to drain the lymph glands. As you can see, it releases excess fluid. So ladies, if you're wanting to get rid of some of that bloat, have some apple cider vinegar. At night, you will pee all night long, but you'll get rid of some water. That's lovely. It helps the skin look better, and it helps us to make the body alkaline. So there's a lot of talk about this alkaline or acid, but an alkaline state for the body is the immune system is healthier. We're cooler. We're not inflamed. So it helps reduce inflammation. When it is paired with raw honey, it is this incredible superfood. It can taste like lemonade if you hate the taste of apple cider vinegar, but it's antibacterial, antifungal in its own right. Raw honey is. And raw honey means it's not cooked in any way. There's no heat applied to it. So raw and unfiltered is even better because it will have a little bit of that wax, which also helps us even with allergies and things. But apple cider vinegar and honey together will actually help us if we do get a cough situation as well. So those two are super powerful, and lots of people have them in their fridge. So Aloma is asking, is it okay to use kefir if you're dairy intolerant? The answer to that is two things. One, that many people who are dairy intolerant can use kefir even with dairy, because it eats all the sugar out, it eats all the proteins out. It is a converted, changed thing. However, you can use kefir in a vegan way. You can use it with coconut milk. You can even use it with water. You just have to look it up online and figure out how to make it that way. It's just a little bit different, but absolutely you can use kefir in that way. In fact, Donna Gates, if you can find her book online, it's DONNAGATES. It shows you how to do it with juice. Even you can make a natural soda with kefir. So, and Angela is asking, what is the measuring system for the organs that you use? That is the BioWell system by Dr. Krodikoff, BioWell system. You can put that in the chat, Bill, to everyone if you want to. And if you don't mind changing my screen, please. Hi, Lori. Lori is watching on Facebook. Okay, I can't actually see that, Bill. Can you make that bigger? It might be me. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. Okay. So Manuka honey. So this is a honey, and I will share my screen again in just a moment and show you that. But Manuka honey comes from New Zealand. And you can get it at your health food store. If you have a Whole Foods nearby, you can get it at Whole Foods. You can also, strangely, you can get it at Home Goods, TJ Maxx. Some of those will have these unusual things, and Manuka honey is one of them. And it creates its own hydrogen peroxide. It is actually made from the flowers of a tree very similar to the tea tree or the Melaleuca tree. And so it has this, it doesn't taste great because it's like tea tree oil and Manuka honey together. So it's like pine bark and honey, but it creates its own natural hydrogen peroxide. And so because of that, it can be used on wounds. And in New Zealand and in Australia and in some places in Canada, they use it for burn victims because it'll coat and seal a wound, kill the bad bacteria, and not have to be scrubbed out. However, and it also makes an incredible facial, ladies. Again, while you're sitting at home, why not make your skin better? An incredible facial, your skin feels fantastic. But the biggest thing that you might want to know about Manuka honey in these times is it makes an incredible cough syrup. So works amazing. You don't have the toxicity of the sometimes the chemicals that are in some cough syrups and the sugar and the dyes for children who are sensitive to that. This makes a great one. I used to want to mind the rules about, younger children. I know that there is some thought about not giving younger children this. However, any bacteria would be gone in it anyway, because that's what it does. So you can see here, it's MANUKA, honey. You can buy it online. You can get it anywhere. It's the least expensive at your TJ Maxx's and your Home Goods, if they're still open in your area. So that is interesting. Okay. Bill, if you can show me my screen, your screen again, please. Great. So the next thing I want to talk about is that another way to add to your arsenal, and something that a lot of people don't know about, is homeopathy. So some people can confuse the use of herbs with homeopathy. Homeopathy is not that. It's actually a well-used, worldwide used system of medicine that uses what is so tiny of a dose of something that it's almost unrecognizable in the medicine. And it's like cures like. So when this was being studied, they had to figure out what the herb did, what it may have caused, or what the substance did, what it may have caused, to know what it may have cured. But there are 3 that I use personally for my own family. I make my own cough syrup that works amazing. So I'll use some Manuka honey or some raw honey. I will use lemon in that, and we're going to talk about lemon here in just a moment. And I will use these 3: Stitka, Stitca. It's called Stitka pulmonaria, so you can hear the lung part in there. Bryonia and Spongia tosta, Bryonia and Spongia tosta. You don't have to worry a lot about whether or not you know about these things. Homeopathy really can do no harm. That's the wonderful thing about it. It cannot interact with any of your other medications. If it's the right one, it'll work amazing. If it's not the right one, it just doesn't do anything. And this is what it looks like. Homeopathy looks like this. It's these little vials. They're little milk sugar capsules. And all of them are incredible for stopping different kinds of coughs. And they don't just work like a cough syrup. Sometimes they can actually change the body. So you can see here that this is the original herb is lungwort. Lung is right in there. So these are ones that you can find at your local health food store. Here, we have a version of Kroger. It's called Fred Meyer. They carry homeopathics. Your Whole Foods carry homeopathics, and your health food stores do. And if your health food stores are open, like ours are here, they're happy to share these things with you. But if you want to make your own natural cough syrup, you can just buy these 3, put a few of them in with the lemon, let them dissolve, add your honey and some water, and there you go. You have a beautiful natural cough syrup that actually works amazing. Bill, if you will share your screen again, please. Bill, are you still there? Oh, there we go. So at this point, I want to talk to you about live food enzymes. So one of the easiest things people can do if you have a juicer at your house is juice. You can create fantastic juices at home that do 2 things. They alkalinize your system, but they also flood the body with these natural enzymes. Now, here's the trick with juicing. You can't make a ton of it and put it in your fridge and drink it later and get the live enzymes. After about 6 hours, the real potency is kind of gone. So you want to do this fresh, but we all have all this extra time at home anyway. So, And it's also fun. You can create your own juice cocktails. But if you have just a little bit of information about the foods that you can use that are really powerful, you can make some juices that really make a difference in your body. So alkalinity, again, is going to reduce inflammation. And when we have anything that's attacking our body, anything that gets our immune system going, we have inflammation. And inflammation hurts our joints, it hurts our muscles. Like inflammation just feels flat uncomfortable in the body. So the live enzymes that come with juicing cools all that down. It alkalinizes our system and it gives us these powerful substances that can help our immune system do what it needs to do. Anything that can help us be stronger in our bodies helps us feel better and helps us with immunity. So I'll tell you the ones that I love to make myself. So I use beets. And you can see here, beets is a blood builder, builds the blood, cleans the blood, and detoxes the liver. We really need clean livers to have a healthy immune system. So beets help that. Now, I have to tell you, I don't like beets. Like I won't eat them in a salad, but I love beets in juicing. They're actually very, very sweet. So if you have a sweet tooth, you might enjoy this. So what I do is I like to add lemon. So lemon and beets, an apple, some celery. So if you've been hearing about celery juice detoxing, that's a big one, but celery has some great mineral salts in it. So celery is a very good one. I like to add spinach, raw spinach to mine as well. So what I like to do is add the color. So if I'm going to buy carrots, I like to buy the organic carrots that are the different colors. They'll be red, purple, dark orange, those kinds of things. So add some color, the dark greens of spinach. That's my favorite one. If I don't do beets, sometimes I'll just do the spinach and lemon and apple together with maybe some celery. But you can play with it and you can add whatever you like. Whatever foods you're adding, raw vegetables and fruit, it's going to be healthy for your body. So I don't think you have to worry about the combination. With that, it's all about taste. So somebody asked, what's the ratio of vinegar to honey? A teaspoon to a teaspoon works great. And you can also do it to taste. Both are powerful things. If you are really just cannot stand vinegar, make the vinegar a little less and the honey a little more until you get used to it. So equal parts is what I normally do. And if I'm just doing it for myself, I'll just put it in a glass. And sometimes I put it in warm water, especially if my lungs feel compromised. That's an easy way to do it. Another way to do it is make it like lemonade. If you want your kids to drink it, just add enough honey that it tastes like lemonade. And it's still a powerful immune booster. So let's see. Where are we? We're talking about garlic next. This is the biggest one that my family uses. As you can see, I'm Italian. And my dad would take a clove of garlic when he was getting sick and put it in his cheek and gum. I know it sounds terrible, and it is terrible. He would eat so much garlic that it was coming out his pores and he would stink up the house. But the man just never really got sick like everybody else did. When all of us had the flu and like kids have every year, he just didn't get it. I mean, he just would put that. But what's amazing about garlic, if you have a tooth abscess, and Bill talked a lot about teeth in one of our last episodes, if you have a bad tooth, there's nothing more toxic in your body. A piece of garlic or just a sliver of garlic on an abscess will change that within hours. And it's a great thing you can do before you can get to the dentist. If you go to the dentist with an abscess, they are going to put you on an antibiotic anyway. They're not going to treat you right away. So if you can get a head start on that and it helps with the pain, gross, I know, but it does. The other thing that we did, and my daughter still does this all the time, is she'll take a can of chicken noodle soup and load it with garlic. And what I mean by loading it with garlic is 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. Buy organic if you can. It usually is much more potent, but if you can't, use what you got. So garlic does clean the blood and it thins the blood. It's known for many, many years by everyone that garlic thins the blood a little. So if you're on a blood thinner, you do want to be a little careful about how much garlic you take. but it really cleans the blood. It kind of works like an antibiotic in the system. So we've seen it work like that a lot of times. Please don't replace it for an antibiotic if you really need one. But if you're just starting to come down with something and you think garlic might be the answer, it might prevent you from having to have one later on down the road. Garlic can be used on the feet of a very ill person. This is really interesting. If you're into herbs, not herbs, oils, essential oils, you may know that you can do this as well. If you have somebody who's very, very sick, you can actually put a layer of a little bit of oil, maybe a little bit of gauze, and cut up a clove of garlic, put it right on the feet. By the next morning, you will smell garlic on your breath. If you don't know this already, the feet absorb almost faster than anything except for the mouth. So you can apply medicines on the feet and they'll get into the blood, and people find that that's very, very helpful and can help in a critical situation. You can use garlic along with your antibiotics. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just food. And that's the important thing. You don't want to be using things that you don't know what to do if they have serious consequences. And this is just food. So, you can overdo it on garlic, and the worst that's going to happen is your breath's going to stink. I did it once. I used a head of raw garlic. Nobody else was eating it. It was roasted. It tasted so good. It was so mild. And I breathed garlic dragon for 3 days. So somebody's saying, how about a kyolic garlic castor oil compress? Yes, you can. However, and this is just my opinion, guys. I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV. I'm just sharing with you stuff we use at home. We really prefer the raw whole garlic. I know that a lot of garlic pills are garlic extract with allicin, and they believe that allicin is the main reason that garlic works. But the truth is, nobody really knows for sure. And so whenever you can use the whole food, that would be my preference. But whatever you got, if you have kyolic, use it. There's many good garlic products. I would recommend, if you're buying a garlic product though, buy one that dissolves in the intestine. Otherwise, you're going to be burping it all day. For that reason, I don't recommend garlic oil because you really do burp it, and it's not a whole food. So that would be what I have to say about that. It's just an opinion. If you got garlic pills, use them. They work great too. So another thing is I have here, it's antifungal. That's true. Garlic is antifungal, which is very, very good. And it keeps the vampires away. Always important in these times. We don't know what's going on. And raw is best. Cooked does work. You can put it in a can of soup, like I said, or a roasted. And, on some bread works as well. Raw, if you're using it as medicine, probably is a little more potent. So let's talk about citrus. Citrus is one of those things that we don't think about, and almost everybody has lemons or limes or oranges in their house. Citrus, the peel. So if you're looking at this part right here, it has oil. If you squeeze it, you can see it go. Citrus, you can put on your skin, and it is disinfecting. So this is an old, what do you call it? Not a wives' tale, but one of those things that wives used, back in the past. My grandmother did this all the time. She would rub the peel of citrus on her counters to disinfect. She would rub it in the sink to disinfect. The oil of a lemon is very, very good for that. It also is great to keep the ants away. And it's a natural immunity booster because citrus and all of its parts has very high vitamin C. We know vitamin C helps us. That's one of those things people have known for years, take vitamin C. Well, it's natural in your lemon and in your lemon peel as well. One thing that and also the juice of lemon, very alkalinizing. So lemon juice, fantastic on a daily basis, whether you're fighting immunity or not, just for alkalinizing your system. But this is the part that people throw away and don't realize how powerful it is. Years ago, I had a naturopath. He was an MD. He was a chiropractor. He was everything. One of those kind of doctors that had studied his whole life. And he said how his career started is that a teacher, he was had a terrible, terrible injury. And the teacher would have him come in at lunch and eat this white part of an orange, the whole thing, every day. And he healed so quickly, he couldn't believe it. And it set him on his journey of being a healer. But you can actually take this white part and put it on wounds, just lay it on wounds, and it heals amazing. It also feels amazing on your skin, ladies. But it's a great healer. And what I do, and I have been doing, is going ahead and eating the whole lemon peel. It's a great immune booster, and it has a lot of enzymes and natural things as well. So let's move on to some herbs. Herbs are things that a lot of us use, and you may know these again, like I said, but I just want to share them with you, remind you. Echinacea, it's the first one that anybody who uses herbs thinks about. Echinacea has been known to really help in killing staph infection. That's one of those things we're really not allowed to say that it does, but look it up and you'll see the uses for herbs. And echinacea is one of those that is strong in helping with staph and strep. You can use an echinacea tincture. However, a lot of places are out of it right now because people know that it's so useful. And what people don't think about is making tea. So echinacea as a dry herb for tea, probably not going to taste good, but it still is powerful. We actually have used it for animals. My aunt has horses. She had a horse that had an infection that we just couldn't heal. He was on antibiotics, and we assumed it might have been staph, and staph can be resistant. And we gave him it in the dry herb in his feed, and it went away. So it's safe for animals. Again, do this research on your own, guys. This is just what I do personally from my family, sharing it with you, but please do your own research as well. You want, if you're going to use echinacea and you're going to use a tincture, you want one that has the root, the leaf, and the flower, because it's the most potent. Of course, use anything that you can find, but root, leaf, and flower is best. Calendula is an amazing one for anything on the skin. So if you can find a calendula gel, again, grocery stores carry these in the first aid sections. Your health food stores carry these, but calendula gel can stop most external infections. In fact, we're using it for bed sores for a family member now, and it works great. Here's one that most people don't know about. So if your echinacea is out and you can't find anything else, ask at your local health food store or go online and get burdock. It also helps with staph and strep. So means it's a strong herb. Lomatium is one that almost no one knows about. And this one's a fun one for me. It is actually grown locally here in the West. It's a Native American tonic herb. And it was used for syphilis way back in the day when, the Mormon travelers were coming and people were getting syphilis. They used lomatium, and it was very helpful with that. And as we know, that's a hard one to kill as well. So lomatium herb really is a valuable tonic herb to have on hand, but very good if a person's sick. It has been known to kill the Epstein-Barr virus or monotype infections. If you happen to end up with this flu, we know that antibiotics are not helping, but one thing that can is an herb called OSHA, OSHA. It's a deep lung formula. Very, very useful. Use that one myself. Here's one that you're going to have in your house, cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper, raw or the flakes, or any way that you have it, it has been known to stop internal bleeding. It also helps circulate the blood if you don't have internal bleeding, which can be important in getting these herbs throughout your body. So cayenne pepper you can use. If you are interested in this sort of thing, really look up cayenne pepper. The uses for it in medical settings can be incredible. So get that, information for yourself. There's books and everything. I highly recommend it. Somebody's asking good for eczema, but I don't know which thing she's asking about. Oh, calendula gel. Yeah, amazing. Amazing, because sometimes we get a bacteria on our skin that can cause eczema. There's many, many causes. Eczema is a big stress. I don't know if you want to call it a disease or disorder, but a big stress issue. One of the big things we never think about with eczema is B vitamins. B vitamins during this time would be amazing. They really help calm our system down, our nervous system. It affects our nervous system. So yeah, eczema, B vitamins, and calendula gel works great. So Bill, if you will help me with the next one, please. So I'm going to talk about tea tree oil, and I'm going to share a website with you in just one second. Tea tree oil is one of those things. You can get it at any grocery store. It is super common now. Comes from the Melaleuca tree in Australia, and it has antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal properties. One great way that you can use it is if you have a neti pot, you can use Himalayan sea salt and one drop, the tiniest drop of tea tree. Trust me, guys, this does not feel good, but it will open up the sinuses. And it's also great for, kind of fighting back that bacteria and stuff that's in the sinuses. One beautiful thing that same naturopath shared with me years ago is that tea tree oil travels along our mucous membranes. And so it can travel to places that we normally can't get to. So even if you take a swab and put that same drop just inside your nose, it opens up your sinuses like eucalyptus might. But then it travels along and it helps to fight back some of that stuff. So you want to very carefully use that as a sinus flush on the tiniest amount. You can add a little bit to your toothpaste. So I know that people in the essential oil world are doing this as well with On Guard. Bill was talking about the Thieves blend. All of those are great to put on your toothpaste, on your toothbrush. One, it kills the yuck that's on your toothbrush. It might be there from the day before, but it also will help with getting that bacteria out of your mouth and keep your teeth healthy. So that's very good too. You can add a small amount to your lotion to replace some hand sanitizers. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but we're talking about the coronavirus being a virus. It's not a bacteria. So your hand sanitizers will kill bacteria, but they're not killing that virus. So look that up, verify that for yourself as well. But what antibacterial soaps and lotions can also kill our good bacteria. It's antibacterial. It doesn't, discriminate between good or bad. It kills them all. So we can be doing ourselves a disservice if we're using a lot of that. But you can add some tea tree oil. You can use it directly on your hands if you want, but it's very strong smelling, but add some to your lotion. You can moisturize your hands and also, kind of be safer with bacteria and virus. Atomizing it in a vaporizer is great because it'll kill the things on the surface of your house at the same time. And you'll also be breathing a tiny bit of it as well, which is great. Do that with your essential oils too. All of those are going to work to help in this time. If you can put your On Guard in your diffuser, if you can put your Thieves in your diffuser, that's a wonderful thing as well. Okay, next screen, Bill. Here's some things you have around your house as well. Oregano oil or oregano in your cupboard. You can make tea out of oregano. Tastes weird, does, but it has the same properties. Oregano oil is incredible for helping our immune systems and fighting back illnesses. We use this one all the time. I actually use this one every day. Maybe it's my Italianness, but it's a very powerful herb for, bacteria and viruses and all that kind of thing. And it really helps boost your immune system. And it's absolutely available. Almost all of us have it. If you've ever made spaghetti, you have oregano leaf, at least herb in your cupboard. Lavender oil. So lavender is amazing for wounds and burns and amazing in your diffusers. Again, it really, helps with bacteria and viruses and all that. Himalayan sea salt. I did a series a while back as Salt the New Healer because it can do amazing things. Not the same as table salt at all, and even has some different properties than Celtic or Celtic. Very good as well, Celtic or Celtic. Full of minerals, full of trace minerals. So a little bit of Himalayan sea salt under your tongue will actually give you your trace minerals. It's wonderful for flushing out sinuses and wonderful under the tongue for also grounding. I actually use it to stop migraines. I tend to get an oral migraine and I'll put sea salt under my tongue and put some in my hands. We use it in our sessions when we have people with neurological overload Himalayan sea salt tends to ground and replace the salt that we've used in the body. The tea tree does open the lung. We talked about that a little bit, and it's very protective. One of the things that has been really recommended for this virus specifically is to drink or sip water all day long. And it pushes the virus into the stomach, which is then killed by the acid in the stomach. But keeping hydrated helps your body be alkaline. And it also just helps our body deliver any of these herbs that we're using to our cells. So keeping hydrated is important. Bill talked about voltage in one of our last meetings. Your voltage can go nowhere if there's nothing to deliver it. Hydrated cells, hydrated blood delivers voltage much better, much easier, much more effectively than a dehydrated body. And dehydration can kill you. I mean, we've had a situation with that in our own family. So keep hydrated. Stress also dehydrates you. So, keep that water going. Next one, Bill. Fever. Okay, so this is highly contested. Do your research. But fever is the body's way of fighting these things. So I once heard a doctor say that fever in children, I was very curious about why we get all these things, but our animals don't. Why children get the flu every year, you get the stomach flu, you get strep throat, you get whatever. And he said that the reason was that it helps burn off. The fever actually helps burn off carbon and other toxicity on the brain. So it's actually helpful for our brain. Not if it gets too high, obviously. And again, please do your research. But don't be afraid to let the body have some kind of a fever. Even though it's uncomfortable, it really is our body's immune system kicking into gear and burning out. And it is said that this virus is sensitive to heat. So a higher body temperature could give you a fighting chance. But again, make sure it doesn't get too high. Some people say even 104 is safe. Beyond that, you want to bring it down. So heat, a sauna. Bill was talking about hot and cold, and this is where this really gets important. That getting in the sauna and then in the cold shower or hot shower, cold shower, it really gets your blood moving, and it delivers all these things that we're trying to feed our body with to our cells, to our extremities. So that's a really important thing that hot and cold does. Not only does it boost your immune system, but it's a great delivery system for getting our blood that's filled with these wonderful things that we're giving it to the rest of our body. So that's really important. Another thing you can do is a Himalayan salt bath. An Epsom salt bath is very helpful to our body and alkalizing our body. And the hot and cold alkalizes the body as well too. So that's an important one. Let's see what's left, Bill. Is there anything left? Oh, the soup. Is the soup left? Yes. Okay. So we'll do this very quickly, and you can look this up online. There's a million recipes. Here's the one I like the best. What you're making is just a powerful broth of all kinds of things that boost your immune system. And then you can use that broth to make other things with. So what you're going to do here is put whole vegetables into the broth. So you can saute the veggies or not saute the veggies. There's two sides to this. Saute them if you're going to leave the vegetables in, which means you're going to cut them up and use it as soup and eat the soup. The other school is that you don't. You just use the broth. So you want a whole onion peeled and maybe cut in quarters. A whole head of garlic, also peeled. You can leave them whole or you can smash them up. Leeks are very good, kind of in the onion family as well. Carrots, 3. Use those multicolored ones if you can, and try to buy organic if you can, guys. If you can't, don't worry about it. Celery stalks and leaves. Those leaves have a lot of stuff in them that's great for us, and a lot of times we throw them away. So 3 celery stalks. Fresh rosemary and thyme. If you have it in your yard, cut it out of your yard, wash it, and use it. So many of us have rosemary and thyme just in our gardens. If you don't have fresh, use dried, just as good. 2 or 3 bay leaves. A sachet of pickling spices. I know this sounds weird, but it actually gives your soup a great flavor, and it has some great beneficial herbs in it as well. A cup of mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms have great healing power, and it's one I didn't even cover here. If you can do a reishi or chaga mushrooms in your food as tea, in your coffee, they're amazing, amazing for health and healing. But in your soup, they're going to help a lot. And everybody can get a hold of shiitake or crimini mushrooms at the health food store, I mean, at your grocery store. You want Himalayan or Celtic sea salt if you can. Fresh ground pepper, you can put the whole corns in if you want, and 3 or 4 liters of water, or just cover it. What you're going to do is boil this for 5 or 6 minutes, not long. Turn it down low and let it sit for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. The longer you do, the more it leaches out. You can then drain your broth off it, use it in other soup, or go ahead and eat the veggies, but this is a powerhouse for immunity. And I think that's everything I had. I did want to show you really quickly just a couple of things here. Let me just show you some of these products so you can know. Actually, tea tree oil. I wanted to share this with you, and I'll copy and paste it. This is 14 ways to use tea tree oil. I highly recommend that. This is what the apple cider vinegars look like if you have not seen them in the grocery stores. And everything I just told you, again, guys, please do your own research and be careful with what you do. But again, this is all food, so it should be helpful for you. Make sure you're not specifically allergic, but play with this stuff, and I promise you will feel stronger and just more confident about your health and how to handle it during this time. So that's what I have to say, Bill. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Liz. That was awesome. Just so much information.
So much.
What we should probably do here is open this up for any questions for Liz. Just go ahead and unmute, and now's the time to ask any question of Liz. You can also, if you have anything you'd like to ask me as well, this is a Q&A time.
Loma asked that can you use the pressure cooker for the soup? Do you know, I don't really know the answer for that. I don't know what the difference would be. I'm assuming, yes, it would work the same. Your crock pot works the same. It's just about getting the enzymes and the vitamins and all that out of the produce and into your broth. So give it a try. See how it works for you and let us know. Anybody else? Any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself. I'm not seeing anything, Bill.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Sounds good. So couple things for you just to wrap up. Number one is we're repeating the entire cycle starting at 5 o'clock tonight. So if you'd like to join or spread the word to have people know about these physical, emotional, and nutritional things, you can share the link regarding this, have them register, and then they'll get the invite for 5 o'clock tonight. If you are interested, Liz does private sessions 1-to-1. I do private sessions 1-to-1. If you're interested, just email billmckennaevents@gmail.com. You can try that. You can also, for people who wanted that from session part 2, Cogno Movement is to learn about that and getting yourself relief over all the stresses. This here is available on Amazon, or you can go to cognomovement.com. It's Cogno like your brain, COGNO, movement, MOVEMENT.
And don't forget, Bill, that Thursday is World Cogno Movement Day. This is the first time this is happening. There'll be 3 different time frames and 3 different sessions. Anybody who has a ball, we are going to guide you through ways to clear your traumas, your dramas, your situations, discomforts in the body. I mean, a wide range of things. So if you have a ball, please join us for one or all three of those because it's going to be amazing. We're going to do some fantastic work that day.
That's free. So
Free.
come and you can come to all three sessions. It's free, and we'll guide you through, relieving all the stress of what's going on. And if you have any questions, feel free also to email. We'll respond to any questions as well that pop up after the fact.
And don't forget, Bill, one of the biggest things we have to help people, we know that we dumped a lot of information on you on the last three sessions. It's so much to remember, and some of it's so new to people, like the breathing. We are having, starting next Monday, it is a Superhuman Immunity Gym. So for 30 minutes, starting at 8 a.m. on the Pacific and 11 a.m. on Eastern, for 30 minutes, we're going to lead you through the breathing, some other exercises as well, and give 15 minutes to chat about any of your questions. So you'll have Bill's and my undivided attention for 45 minutes every day for 7 days. That's not a free one. It does cost $99, but to have us in your house every day for 7 days, actually giving you this instruction, it's huge. World Cogno Movement Day and this training, you can register at cognomovement.com in the events section, and I'm going to paste it now where you can find both of those. Okay, it's pasted. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, fantastic. There was some other comment there. Somebody having.
Yeah, they're asking you because when you're listening, you tend to move your eyes around. So we've had this question before. Bill, what is it with you and moving your eyes around?
It's interesting. I don't even notice that I do it, but our eyes are connected to our brain, right? So anytime you're thinking or feeling something, your eyes move, and I don't intentionally do it, but I know I move my eyes a lot more now than I used to, and I went through had some wonderful training with what can only be described as masters, and they had helped me to. They taught me so much, but one of the things that I learned, and I'll just kind of describe this to you. It's actually from part 2, but this is kind of a basic. Is that your eyes are connected to your brain, and the part that you're not utilizing, wherever it is, or you have problems processing stuff, you'll feel kind of a little tension in that area as you rotate your eyes. But if you were to, let's say, think of a particular issue in your life, whatever that may be, and you rotated your eyes, you'll notice the part that feels somewhat uncomfortable, and you can kind of rotate back and forth in that area. And what'll happen is that you'll have less stress about it. You may have new epiphanies, and you'll also get new perspectives. And when I say broadening perspectives, I mean really broadening perspectives beyond just the issue. I told the story before. I just happened to start noticing things that I didn't notice before as I started to expand my vision. This kind of goes right along with the Hermetic teachings, as within, so without, as above, so below. Hermes Trismegistus is worth looking into his teachings. I do a whole thing on that in one of my seminars, but it's being proven out today by neuroscience, the things that he knew already thousands of years ago.
So, Bill, let me jump in here. So, I just want to share with everybody. Bill's kind of our poster child for what we call in cognitive movement eye accessing cues. It's also a term used in NLP. But what you're actually seeing is Bill accessing the files in his brain. Our eyes act as the Dewey Decimal System for our brain. Now, if you're too young to know what a Dewey Decimal System is, it was these files in the library that you would search through. So when you see him thinking as a person's talking, he's actually accessing the file in the brain that would relate to that topic. So in cognitive movement, it is one of the most amazing ways that we can serve clients is knowing where their brain is storing files and subjects. We know where if a subject is in the emotional body, is in the memory, or in the future, we can generate new ideas, all with manipulating where the eyes are moving. And like Bill alluded to, we can tell by the strain that is in a certain zone where the eyes move, where traumas, problems, situations, people are being held. And by accessing those and manipulating those, we can clear those just through it. So it's an incredible piece of cognitive movement.
Yeah, it's amazing, because as we're doing the practitioners, by the way, that have been trained in this, they know about these areas, right? And they can tell when, let's say, you're dropping the ball or you're unable to say a color in a particular area. That, oh, okay, this is a worry of the future, or it's a thought of what happened in the past. You can tell, is it in the future, in the past, is it number of different things.
Hey, Bill, we've had Annette with us on every one of these sessions, and I wonder if we can call on Annette. Annette, if you're hearing me, Annette is one of our amazing practitioners. She's in the New Jersey, New York area. We have lots of practitioners all over the world now that you can access through the Cognitive Movement site and see in person. But Annette, if you are hearing me, I wonder if you might share one of your experiences about the eyes. There she is.
Okay, so I thought it was quite interesting that just by noticing where the eyes go when you're having a conversation, right? You could be asking about either something that happened in the past or something that's going to happen in the future, or you have them think of something in the future or create something, that their eyes will tell you exactly where it is in their field. And I thought that was the most interesting thing, because when we're actually speaking to someone, most of the time we think we're paying attention, but there's so much more information that we can gather simply by knowing where the eyes are when they speak. So I thought for me that was like a big aha moment. I was like, wow. So I'm not really, what I realized was I wasn't really paying attention. Well, I guess I thought I was, and then I realized that there's much more to it if you're just aware of it. And it's easier to work with someone when you know where they are or where they're stuck.
I mean, that's absolutely, it's amazing. It's amazing for a practitioner how fast this moves because of the information we have just by the eyes. But Annette, you've been to many of our seminars and you've done the work yourself. Not to put you on the spot, but is there anything you can think of that you could share that shifted just with some of the cognitive movement eye systems? Anything you can pull up?
That shifted for me?
Yeah. Can you think of anything, or a client that you've had that just with the eyes made a big difference?
Well, yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, like obviously doing it on myself, was huge. It did make me aware of things that when I did the eye exercises, one of the loop ones were the things that were coming up that I thought I had released already. And I guess that there was still pieces of it still there. And it was being, I guess, made available through this, just the technique of doing the eye movement. But then also working with someone, I realized how easy So it's like we have so much more information that we can gather from the person without really getting stuck in the story, because that can take you down the rabbit hole. But so you have pieces that are kind of gives you a puzzle to work with them way quicker. And it gets them through whatever it is much faster. I
So
think for
what,
me, I think that was huge.
yeah, guys. So what Annette is referring to is a system called pulling the thread. Works with the eye movements. Bill, show while I'm talking, move the ball around and in the circle. So there's a system where, like Annette said, we can access hidden information by the pictures that come up as the eyes are moving. And we simply ask the person to notice the pictures. Sometimes they say it out loud, sometimes they don't, but it will pull out a series of pictures of things that you had no idea were connected. And it will remove whole stacks of traumas, dramas, information, something that we call programs that run together and drain your energy. So was that the experience for you, Annette, that it pulled together things that you didn't even know were connected?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a big relief for you? Like, what was the change, if you're willing to share?
So what it felt like, what I didn't realize is I felt like after the process, I didn't realize how much I was actually carrying. So it felt like I was carrying a load that I wasn't even aware of. So once I did that process, it was like, wow, I feel so much like I was lighter. There was stuff that was sometimes it didn't even feel like it was mine, but it seemed like to come off, right? And so I felt lighter, and it was almost like a sigh of relief, and I could breathe easier. And I had a whole lot more energy, and I felt a whole lot better.
Well, and that's the thing, just so everybody knows, when you can remove this stuff, it returns that energy or that voltage that Bill was talking about. Literally gives you that horsepower back into your body. So I know we've kept you guys way too long, so I'm going to pass it back to you, Bill. We'll see everybody again at 5 o'clock tonight for round one, breathing all over again, if you want to join us.
Okay.
Thank you, and appreciate everybody joining us. I hope to see you on some of the other ones or one of the seminars that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Appreciate that so much. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being here.